Good morning, YouTube. It's Lisa Bean coming at you with my 30 week, or is it 31? I don't remember. We'll just call it our 30th week. I'm not sure. Post VSG surgery. I had my VSG surgery on July 1st, 2013. And I weigh in today at 191. That is a 3-pound loss since last week. So that does make me very happy. And it goes to show switching up your diet can make a difference on what you're doing. So that was really good news. One sec. Someone's trying at work already. Sorry about that. Notice I'm still in my pajamas. Starting working already. Issues already arriving, so haven't even had time to change out of them. So it might be just a pajama day, to be honest with you. So going back, last week, sorry about that video. I'm usually not a Debbie Downer, and I was. And that, I don't like being like that, you know. I was just bummed out. As much as I try all the time to have a good attitude about no weight loss, there's a point that with anyone it gets to you here and there. So it's been about my 6th mark, and it finally just broke the camel's back. You know, it just really, in better words, just pissed me off, because I don't know what else I could be doing better. Except for maybe pushing myself to exercise harder, or I should say not even harder, because I think I exercise kind of hard when I do. I would say longer really would be probably the best way to put it. Except for Saturdays and Sundays, I do exercise Monday through Friday. I go on the treadmill every day, and I do weights every other day. And then between those days, I kind of do some planks and some crunches and things of that with no weights, but kind of just like stretching and doing some core type of exercising. So yeah, after a while it does get to you. And last week when I made that video, I was just bummed all the way around. Like, I don't even think it was just my weight loss. Like, it was just, I think it was hormonal, because I just was bummed all day. Like, I'm not a big sappy ass person, and commercials were making me cry. So, yeah, so I don't know. I don't get what was going on, but whatever. I'm past it. I'm over it. You know, I kept doing what I was doing. I went and saw my surgeon's office last week. I didn't get to see the surgeon, but I saw their nurse practitioner, and, she, you know, we were having a conversation, and, you know, she was very happy with my weight loss. You know, I'm at 75, and I weighed, I lost my weight when I went into the doctor's office, and also their scale, I think, is a little different, because I weighed in at 190 in their office, but, you know, I go by my scale, and actually today, honestly, it could have been a 4-pound loss, but, you know, I don't do halves, so I weighed in on my scale actually at 190.5, but I took the 191, so this week, next week, if I don't lose anything, I could take at least that. But, you know, we were having a conversation, and she said exactly what I was doing. Just like exercise, your body gets used to the same things that you eat, and the same amount of calories, and the same amount of protein. It's no different than exercising. Your body gets into an adjustment. And I noticed that I was kind of starting to eat some of the same things. Pete Rocks the Sleeve, thank you for pointing out, like, one of the things he pointed out looking at my Fitness Pal was every morning I was eating a Quest bar every single morning. So I kind of switched that up to like a regular egg breakfast, doing some eggs or a yogurt instead of constantly the protein bar. So I kind of changed that up. I kept going through with what the nutritionist had told me about adding some complex carbs. So at every meal, I was pretty much putting in, it's not a lot. So I don't want you to think that I'm having like a huge plate of salad or a huge plate of greens, you know, broccoli or whatever. They're tiny amounts. They're like, you know, maybe I take a little handful of spinach and put it on my plate. I've been adding it in about 8 calories, but I don't even know if that's accurate because I'm not even having like a quarter cup. Like literally it's a little bit, but I've been adding them into my meals like my nutritionist had mentioned to me. So I've been doing that. And just for those of you, I know, just to let you know that I spoke to my surgeon. I had a concern when TJ from Fat Kings had mentioned on his videos about, the overabundance of protein and how it could tax your body. And I had that conversation because I was up in the 100 grams of protein a day for a while. So I, had a concern about it. And I asked my, the nurse practitioner that helps my surgeon about that. And we had a conversation and she said they're looking at about 120 grams consistently a day will tax your kidneys, will start to, you know, be a hardship on your body. She said anything below 120 is not going to affect your kidneys. I mean, listen, I would ask your doctor, your surgeon, or whoever, as you're doing your research, because our bodies are a little bit different from weight loss surgery. Someone who has a feeding tube is getting huge, high amounts of protein. So, I mean, I would ask your healthcare professional about what their thoughts are. Mine said if you're below 120, they don't see a problem. I was just talking to her about my Fitness Pal and saying that, I average about 90 a day, some days 100, and she said, that's perfectly fine. There won't be any issue. It's when you get about that 120 consistently every day that is going to start taxing your kidneys. So they don't advise that whatsoever. But she said if what I'm getting, exercise that I'm doing, it's not really a concern. They don't, her herself doesn't like to see the patients go below 75 a day. So she's saying minimum 75 grams of protein a day would be ultimate, for me. If I'm between 75 and 90, I'm doing pretty good. So that was good. And I didn't get to ask her about I totally forgot about my joints making weird noises all the time when I exercise, like crickety crackety sounds, like almost like fluid in them. And I totally forgot. So that pissed me off. But no, she was happy with my weight loss. And, in my chart, originally my doctor had said his goal, the surgeon's goal for me was to hit 180, which was so weird. And I guess it was just, like she said, an obtainable goal. In my doctor's office and my nutritionist, I can't stress enough how they are so hell-bent about realistic, sustainable goals. So I was telling her I was going to get to 150. And then she was saying something like you'd really be 140 because they take about 10 pounds for excess skin. She wasn't telling me not to do it, but she said to me, realistically speaking, if I was to get to 170, and call it goal, then she goes, you'd be in it. And I kept saying, stuck on that BMI chart. And as for my surgeon's office, they're like, don't worry about the chart. She was like, you keep looking at the chart. I haven't even brought it up to you once about the BMR chart because they have a big poster of it next to you where you sit. You cannot but watch that, right? And she was just like, don't worry about that chart. Worry about, realistically speaking, what you can do for the rest of your life. You have to be realistic. You have to be realistic. And she was like, not getting into that BMI, that regular BMI for normal for me. She was like, realistically, you probably won't get there. And you know what? It's not a big deal. It is not a big deal. And you have to look at Forrest Kim. So like kind of how we all give each other, those pep talks, she actually was giving it to me. And she doesn't care about me getting to a normal BMI rate at all, So that was comforting to see. I told her my realistic goal was 165. I'm 5'6", so I'm assuming, that's a pretty realistic goal for me, and I think it's very obtainable. So, her message, and it was fun. Another funny thing that I thought, I was telling her, and I thought she would be so proud of me. We were talking about things I have been eating and what I've been doing, and I told her that the nutritionalist had nudged me to start eating more normal type foods. And she was like, yeah, you have to be realistic, and you do need carbs in your diet. Like, to exit carbs out long term can post an ill effect on your body. So she's like, you have to get the right proper amount of carbs, not eating shitful carbs, processed, simple carbs, but you need to get them in there, which I told her I was doing. But I said to her, I said, I haven't even, because she asked me about drinking alcohol. And I said, you know what? I haven't even touched any. And she's like, get out of here. She's like, why? And I'm like, well, now mind you, we had a discussion about things that I was eating and like my little goldfish that I'm addicted to. My simple carb that I just love and I need to have a couple times a week. So, funny enough, she said to me, you could have a couple freaking drinks. Like, again, let's be realistic, right? So I was like, nah, I was trying to stay away from it and stuff. And she was like, oh, funny that you would stay away from alcohol, but you didn't stay away from eating like your goldfish or chocolate or whatever. Same difference, really. And funny enough, I was like, touche, rabbit, because she is exactly right. Like, I was so feared of taking extra calories with drinking, but I wasn't afraid of trying snacks and like the goldfish or the chocolate that I've indulged on or the popcorn. Like, I wasn't afraid to have those extra calories. So she was like, I'm not saying, go down in a bottle every day, but she was like, you know what? If you want to have a couple of drinks here and there, go ahead. Because like not to is just, it's kind of ridiculous. So, that was funny. I love her. She's so down to earth, a positive person to speak with. So I was really happy. She bitch slapped me is what she did. She bitch slapped me and was like, you know what? It's not a freaking race to how quick you get to goal. You didn't get heavy in 6 months. You're not going to lose all the weight in 6 months. The people that do, good for them. Who cares? Like, that's not you. If they get there quicker, however they're doing it, good for them. But if you know in your heart that you're doing everything, the healthier way, you're eating right, you're getting your exercise in, you're eating right, you're not lying to yourself, you're going to get there. The weight's going to come off and it's going to move. You may have to shake things up. She flat out told me that, the exercise I'm doing, quite honestly, it's better than nothing, but it's about that. It is what it is. She goes, I'm going to call a spade, and she goes, the exercise you're doing is about better than nothing. But she's like, you really got to, again, bitch slap me. You got to raise your workouts, She's like, you got to intensify your cardio and you got to intensify your weight training, and I know that, like, the point being is I know that. And I told her, I said, yeah, she's like, that's changing up your eating habits. If you're doing all those and you're staying on track, you are doing an awesome job. So, that day I really needed that slap in the face to really remind me what's important. And I mean, even when I walked into the office, when I walked into the room, when she came in, she was like, holy shit, you look different, So it was a good, feeling. But I don't have much more to say than that. I just kind of want to leave off. I saw this little saying on Facebook the other day, and I just wanted to share it with you because it really resonated with me. It says, the longer you have to wait for something, the more you will appreciate it when it finally arrives. The harder you have to fight for something, the more priceless it will become once you achieve it. And the more pain you have to endure on your journey, the sweeter the arrival at the destination. All good things are worth waiting for and worth fighting for. And I'm going to leave that with you for this week. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.